all the dignitaries for giving me this chance to interact with the participants. Friends, I think how many participants are there, I do not know. But what is happening is that I'll give you some introductory remarks. Meantime, all the participants, what they're expecting from me, if at least one or two participants, if they're able to come out with their expectations, I think if it is necessary.
Professor Nageshwara garu, small interruption and submission to you.
Yeah.
Sir, there are 100 and plus students, participants now, 128. Okay. 118.
Excellent.
So it is good number and they may join a little later also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
whoever
sir.
is coming, is coming at the last moment also, please give them entry, Anand.
Yeah, definitely. We are allowing everybody.
Don't deny the entry. Even they're listening for 5 minutes also. That's very important.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now, friends, what is happening? Friends means my dear students or participants. What is happening, you see? Often we talk about there is a gap between industry and academia. And recently, I think 25 people are recruited from our department. Generally, you know that the students will come, candidates will come through ISET. Toppers join generally in the universities, particularly Usmania. And we have a 100% placement. And there are 25 people who placed in ICICI Bank, and equal amount of 5 students they joined in Federal Bank, and so on. When I'm interacting with the top officials of the ICICI Bank, they claim that, sir, your candidates are like, suitable only for 30% and remaining 70%, and we have to provide a training. That is the gap actually when the students are coming out of from the management institutions. So here, what actually, I think by this time, I go very slowly. By this time, I think you got the main point of the industry and academia, and that is not an exception to the event management studies also. So here, what we are offering, I think 4 semesters or 6 semesters, right? And followed by multiple subjects, multiple areas, multiple specializations we are offering. But here, the practical content, whether you say case studies which are there in the book or live case studies, what is happening in the contemporary scenario, right? That is what I feel we are missing. But nevertheless, what we are missing, but one thing we are not missing, that is a project report done by the candidates, right? And here the problem starts actually, like, students are come from the different backgrounds. They're from engineering, like, other traditional UG courses and so on. Now the problem comes with, you see, at least one practical content that is their project report or the project management, right? And how to do it, and what's the importance of that project report, and how to start, how to end, and in between what we have to do. That is what I think Anand Pawar and the Kiran Mai madam told to interact with you. My point is today, like industry, several things they are managing, my dear participants, students. What actually today we are talking right from the risk management to finally we have to achieve quality assurance. I repeat one more time. That is, we have several risk factors related to all the areas: finance, marketing, human resource management, systems management, MIS management, anything that you see, IT management. We have several risk factors. First of all, from these risk factors, we have to bail out, and finally what customer is looking at you or at me, it is a quality assurance. I think all the participants are accepting this word, right? And in between, we have so many things. You see the problems with the communication, the problem with the written part, the problem with the resource management, preparation of the budget. That is what the universities, they have to interact. That is what the very industry is looking for. And finally, my dear friends, what I'm trying to say, And when the right candidate is there who understand the industry, like their problem followed by process followed by solution, right? And with this one, the students were able to understand with a little bit of communication skills. I think you have a jobs, excellent jobs. And that is possible provided that you are very sincere right from the first semester to final semester. Come out with an excellent project report. In that project reports, you are going to understand various segments. And finally, what I am trying to talk to you, the quality assurance, right? Because you will be assessed by yourself, you will be assessed by your peer team, but mostly you will be assessed by the industry once you join the job. That is what, instead of struggling after joining the company, why can't we struggle these 2 years, particularly in the preparation of the project actually? Then your job is going to be very, very easy, right? After joining the company. So this is what the introductory part actually. Now, I think at least one or two respondents or the three respondents, please interact with me. Please open your mouth. What actually you're expecting from me? Therefore, I have prepared something. I have something in my mind, but your expectations, if they are different, I think I can modify, remodify right now, and I can deliver what you are expecting, my dear friends. Please come out at least a couple of participants. What actually you are expecting, Amma? For a moment, the connection has gone and it is restored right now. And at least one or couple of participants, Mr. Sunil Kumar, I think I'm able to see you on the screen. Can you interact with me? Please unmute yourself first. Or Vishwanatha Reddy, I'm also able to see you. Sravanti, please. Yes, Sravanti, please talk, Amma. Please unmute yourself. Then you can speak. Either Sravanti or Vishwanatha Reddy. Both of you have raised your hands. I think people are unable to mute. Actually, please call the system administrator. I think he has totally unmuted the Brow webinar. He's totally unmuted the entire team. Just wait a few seconds. I'm trying to talk to that administrator to unmute for all the people actually. Kiran bhai madam, ఇది మొత్తం ఈ సిస్టమ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటర్ పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ మొత్తం ఓపెన్ చేయమని చెప్పండి ఆయన్ని ప్లీజ్. ప్లీజ్ ఆస్క్ హిమ్ టు ఓపెన్ ప్లీజ్.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is open now.
Yes.
Yeah, I requested them to open actually, my dear friends. Sorry for the inconvenience what you had now. And at least one or two participants just interact with me. Therefore, you see what are actually your requirement. I think it is the participants, including the students and the faculty also could be, right? At least one faculty and two participants of the students
Good
community.
morning, sir.
Yes, madam, please.
Sir, this is Shifa Fatima.
Yeah.
I'm from hospital management. I would like to know how we should approach the research
Okay.
and what are the main factors which should look into the research when we are doing.
Excellent, madam. I got your point. The first point is very clear, you see. And actually, madam is asking about the total process of the project report. She's asking. Actually, this lecture is intended that only, madam. And your point is well taken. Next, please.
Sir, this
Hi,
is
sir.
Abhishek.
Introduce yourself, please.
Sir, this is
Hi,
Abhishek.
sir.
Only one.
Hi, sir, this is Abhishek.
Hi, Abhishek.
I'm from hospital administration.
Okay.
So, as you said, the people are getting jobs in bank sector.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference between us? If some of the people from hospital administration are getting jobs in IT also.
Yes.
So, what is the
Is it
what is the difference
hospital?
between-
Is it hospital management or hospitality management, my dear friend Abhishek?
Sir, hospital management, sir.
Hospital management.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Some of our students are getting jobs in IT also, sir.
Yes, yes.
So, what will be the project works? What is the difference between for them and us, sir?
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
this point has noted actually, right?
Yes.
There's a slight difference between hospital management and hospitality management. Hospitality management, I think it is linked to the most of the time tourism and development, and hospital management means hospital. So it
No,
is.
sir.
Huh?
The people are getting into the IT sector, no, sir.
That is what under those students those candidates who completed the hospital management, and they're
Yeah,
also
yeah.
getting the jobs in the IT, right?
Yeah, that's what. Sir.
Definitely. Actually, I will tell you the answer to this question to you. But
Sure,
your
sir.
point is okay. And finally, I want to take one more and then start the lecture.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. My name is Mohammad Akbar Pasha.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for unmuting and making us talk on this session.
Yeah.
And my point is, I'm from a journalism and mass communication course program, which I was doing in Ambedkar University.
Okay.
And currently I'm in third semester, sir. And next semester I need to do a project, my
Exactly.
project.
Okay.
So the reason I joined this call, like I want to gain some inputs from you people, and I want to know the major aspects that I need to include in my upcoming project.
Very
So that is the main reason I joined. So and my help from you is like to give some aspects. So what are the main aspects that I need to look into the project
Definitely, sir.
when I was
Definitely.
doing the project, when I was doing the research?
Yes, Pasha,
So,
I got your point actually, the well taken. And that's very nice to hear from you. I think.
and thank you so much to Sunil sir, so professor of journalism and mass communication, for forwarding this meeting invite. And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Actually, I am from Usmania University, as Anand said. 33 years I worked in Usmania University from various levels up to OSD. And I worked in foreign for 4 years in 5 different countries. And after that, another 9 countries I have visited. That means every time I visit a country, go to the management department and look at their quality aspects of that one. The quality aspects always be seen that are emerged from the theory to practicality. So here, what I'm trying to say, And everybody, please mute yourself. And whenever there's a chance to get, I will give the 10 to 15 minutes time for the last time interaction. Then whatever the doubts you have, and please free to ask me. The first point, my dear friends, what is happening in the, unfortunately, strictly speaking about this MBA project or the management project, not much of the practical contents. Professors will come, they teach, they under whatever they understand, they teach, and we are leaving the students whatever they have understand it. But finally, what is happening when our students are facing an interview, and the interview board that came from the industry, they ask you about the most of the practical things only. But unfortunately, what is happening? We have only one practical content. Some universities, they're offering mini project and the major project. Mini project is to understand the contents of this mini project before the major project. And the major project is major projects because they are going to study critically and analyze the projects. And finally, they try to find something and they answer something that is in the form of recommendations. So friends, if you have a pen and paper, please write the first point is the quality of the project is based on the block diagram of a computer. I think everybody knows about the block diagram of the computer, that is consisting input, process, and output. If you're able to understand these three aspects completely, I think that is the fundamental aspects related to the project report, preparation of the project report. Very simple, I'm telling you. Friends, please remember, I think preparation of the project is not a complicated one, because most of the times our student friends feel that it's a complicated one. Once this complicated word came into your mind and you feel that leaving that complicated, looking something very comfortable, then what is comfortable in the sense the market is open, the people will prepare the project report for you if you pay something to them. This is what actually happening. But my contention, I argued with the Board of Studies in several times of various universities. Nearly, I'm the Board of Studies member in 10 universities. And my intention is, like, the project report concept has to start from the first semester. Unfortunately, this is the first limitation. I never say disadvantage, my dear participants. And I don't know what is the disadvantage actually. I always coin the disadvantage into a limitation. And to overcome this limitation, to remove the fear of this project from the student's mind, what I'm trying to say, the concept has to start from the first semester itself. So the process is something like that. I told you, input, process, and output. Always we focus on output only. That is quantitative output as well as qualitative output. But my dear participants, is it possible to get these two, either quantitative output or the qualitative output, or the combination of these two, without selection of the proper inputs? That's what I told you, input, process, and output, right? Without selection of the inputs, how it is possible to get a and proper output? Let us say in this case, your proper output is the final version of your project report, where you are critically recommended something after finding. So here, what you have to do, the fundamental aspect in the project report is that you select only easy project. I'm not telling you to select a complicated project unless you understand it. And sometimes our students will select a big topic and they are not able to cope up with that topic. And finally, they end up with that and finally requesting somebody to do the project work for them, buying. So here, what I'm trying to say, the input process will start here from the first semester. I think what I'm trying to say, this is even advice to the faculty members and the university also, right? You see, in the first semester itself, because this is only the practical content, and let us try to analyze a small case studies that is related to the project report or the project report that comes to identifying the problem and how to find a solution to that one. So selection of a good topic, that is very easy to you. You should understand the topic. Don't select any complicated topic actually. And whatever this topic you have selected, I think then you try to do it in a proper way. Generally, we have specializations. marketing, finance, HR, and systems. And generally, the students kindly unmute Srinath. Mute. So here, what I'm trying to say, I think the students often they get doubt. Sir, is it mandatory that we have to select a project report from our area of specialization? Dear students, yes, yes, Mahinder.
Sir, good morning, sir. Small suggestion, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I am Mahinder, Kamara district. I have applied for the PG Diploma Marketing Assistant, sir. How are you prepare the jobs in the dairy department, sir? And how should I prepare for the project work and dairy departments?
That is what Mahinder, just hold on. That is what actually is going on, Mahinder. And after 15 to 20 minutes of my lecture, I will give the sufficient time to the candidates to interact with me, and there you can ask Mahinder.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much. So here, friends, what is happening? Like, and just now I have taken a feedback, one of my friend, that's what he has given. Though he is doing hospital management, he is getting a jobs in IT. Yes, it is very true. Very true. And companies, they want to employ not what you have studied, my dear students, what skills you possess. I repeat this one. They don't want, suppose you see, and you have studied something like that, like you have studied something, and but the companies, they are trying to employ in a different way. So here, what I'm trying to say, try to identify your own skills first of all. Right? Today, it's a quite often, my dear students, you see, candidate who completed in BTech mechanical, is he getting a mechanical job? And biotechnology, BTech biotechnology, is he getting a real biotechnology job? And most of the people, they are getting IT jobs because now there is a lot of demand for IT. That is what, first of all, you try to identify your own skills, and the industry is looking for you irrespective of your own skills, right? And they want to identify your core area and then identify your skills. Then they want to employ you, even though you have done a course in a one area. But what of the job you are doing, that is not related. This is what you see, that's the demand and supply gap of the industry. That is what always I request you to focus on that one. So here, the first step in the project report is that you try to, like, think to identify a problem. Unless you identify the problem, doing the project report is not correct. You may do the project report, but it is not correct. The first step in that one, I think input is that try to identify the problem of the project. Like one bank called you, sir, we have a problem with collections. That's a problem. Sir, we have a problem with the disbursement of the loans. That is a problem. Sometimes the IT people says that, you see, sir, we are creating a lot of database, but we don't know what extent the database is correct. That's a problem. So anywhere that you go to a company, first of all, listen to them carefully. What kind of problem they are placing before you. వాళ్ళు ఎట్లాంటి ప్రాబ్లం అనేది మీ ముందు పెడుతున్నారు. That is what the most important one. If you select a wrong thing here, I think your project report, there is a chance that your project report will go totally mesh or go to a wrong one. Right. So the next one is process. Once you selected a topic, you see what kind of data you have to gather and what kind of tools you have to use. That means some statistical tools, some financial tools. Like, you see what tools you have to implement and what kind of data you have gathered, and correlation of your data and the methods is most important. You have collected a data, but which data methodology that you want, which is study methodology you want to use, which research methodology you want to do it, right? You want to use mean, mode, or median, or you want to go for some other statistical tool such as ANOVA, right? Regression analysis, correlation. What kind of test that you have to use, that you need to identify. That is what our students fail, because all these processes, my dear friends, you start in the 4th semester itself only, where the time is limited. Most of the times, the students are having several backlogs in the first year. First semester, second, third semester, they have to manage their backlogs. They have to manage their percentage. And even they have to manage their project report, which is not correct. So the concept of the project report, if you are a professor in a particular university or you are an assistant professor in a business school or somewhere, and please give, whether it is mentioned in the syllabus or not, give the topic of introduction in the first semester itself. Therefore, the candidate is going to sleep with the problem. Let him sleep with the problem for one semester actually. Therefore, he is going to understand what actually the project report. And the students, they are not able to understand the process of the project report, but we are trying to them do this, do that one. That is not possible. Finally, when your process is correct, you see, my dear friends, I think your output is also correct. That's what I mean to say. Sometimes your inputs are correct, your process is not correct, then the output is wrong. Sometimes your process is correct, your inputs are wrong, then your output is not correct. But unfortunately, sometimes you see what is going to happen. Your inputs are correct, your process is also correct, but your output is wrong. Then how this is going to happen means sometimes the changing scenario of the environment, everything is correct, but you are failed. So these are the things which you have to be noted very, very carefully, right? So for this one, I will try to explain the simple formula. Like, at the joining itself, which sector you are going to employ, that is called current trend, or which sector you are going to join, you have decided already, or some students are already working, they join in Ambedkar Open University as a evening program or a distance mode, and wherever they are working, like, what is their core area, please identify the first one. This is the step one, my dear students. I think in your project report you have to do it. I repeat one time. In case of you're a student, what is your specialization? But irrespective of your specialization, what kind of job you're looking in the industry? Please decide. Number two, I think you are studying some hospital management or you are studying management, but I think there's a plenty of hours in the IT. I think better you do the project in IT if you are interested. Third aspect, which I told you, people are already working in these organizations, you see, I think they're really familiar with the problem. Kindly identify the core problem and do the project report. Therefore, that project report is useful to you as well as to the company. But in the case of first two, they are just students, they're preparing the project report. Generally, what happens, even I was the board of member in several interview boards, most we don't focus on theory, we focus on the practice. What practice is available in our MBA? It is only the project report. Then you remember, wherever you go to the interviews, kindly carry the project report with you, because that is your practical one. Then they put the certain questions, the project report what you have done, it is a mandatory, compulsory that you have to answer from your own projects. Unfortunately, what is happening, and candidates, they have done the project report and they fail to answer from their own project. This is the greatest limitation, my dear friends. Please remember that one, right? So here, like, the project report, the selection of the topic, what you are interested, not that topic given by somebody else. Very clear point. Once you select the topic of your choice, then your interest will develop. That means, I think the supervisor who is allocated to you, and the SAR is having a plenty of experience, and he is going to guide you on the topic selected by you, the methodology how to proceed about it. This is the first one, you try to do it. And the second one is that the plenty of jobs are available in the marketing. But here, sometimes I found that the student who completed finance is not getting finance jobs. Those candidates who completed human resource management, they are not getting the same job. Those who students completed hospital management, and they want, I think the industry, there's a lot of demand for hospitality management or tourism and development. Then how to topic you have to select. Friends, one thing I want to make sure about you, you try to select such a topic, number one, which is interested to you and which is having a good demand in the market. Because, at the end of the day, what you need and what I need is employment. And unless you open your mouth in the interviews, what you have done, and the opening of the mouth in the interview, it is only the project report and some other external knowledge about your subject or internal knowledge about your subject. So the first one, very clearly, I'm telling you, irrespective of your specialization, though you are a finance candidate, you can select a project from marketing. If you're a marketing student, you can select a project in human resource management. If you're in human resource project, and you can do it. If necessary, who is going to object you if at all you want to do the two projects? Because we are finance specialization. Do one project in finance, and but if plenty of the jobs are available in IT sector or marketing, do another project in this area. Therefore, you are going to get plenty of experience of this one. This is the first concern. Most of our students do the mistake, and they're neglect the project till the end. Once it goes to the till the end, the project report cannot come out of your brain. It comes from somebody's brain. That is called copied project. There is no use of that one. First one. Second one, how to proceed about the project report. Importance is importance. Importance means only one practical content we have, that is called the project report in the MBA. Or most of the times you see some of the courses, maybe hospital management or hospitality management, the people may be taking you to some visits of the industry, etc., etc. That is there always. But on the paper, the practical exposure what you are mentioning is definitely the project report. So here, simple thing, without you having a pain, how to complete the project report, I'll tell you. The first step, my dear friends, is practically I'm telling you. Go to the library. I think every institution, they are keeping the previous projects, right? I request you, spare your time, at least for 1 week or 2 weeks, open that project reports and read them completely. Read them completely. What is the purpose of this doing in the sense you see, and you will frame a basic idea. What I'm trying to say, you will frame a basic idea and what is project report, what are the contents are there in this project report, how the process is they have done it, and what kind of findings they have done it, and what kind of recommendation they are. This is what, my dear students, you see, this is almost called as a in literature research, this is called as a literature review. You just read the projects of 5 or 6 or 10. Therefore, you are going to frame the idea. So here what I'm trying to say, and after reading these project reports, you see, now what is going to happen. There are several, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, depends on the topic you see, and depends on the volume of your project report, the chapters may increase or decrease. Here, I think generally the structure of the project report, because you are not doing the research. MBA project cannot be called as a strictly called as a research. Theoretically, you're observing something, or critically, you're studying something. Possible extent, you're putting in the facts and figures. And from the facts and figures, you're finding something, right? And you're recommending something. This is what you see when you go to your doctor. First of all, he's going to ask you what kind of problem you have. That is called problem statement, Amma. This is the problem statement. Most of the students, they neglect it. And without deciding what problem you have, do you think that the doctor is going to give the medicine? First of all, he is going to understand. Maybe he is recommending for some diagnostics test. That is what your diagnostics test is, something like that. You have to go to the roads. You have to go to the industry, interact with the people, interact with the employees, interact with the customers, and their feedback. This is what actually you're going to understand the problem actually. So after the problem, that means after the diagnostic reports, the doctor is very clear with the problem. If he is not clear with the problem, he is going to recommend some more diagnostic test to you. And after that, now the problem is very clear. To get the solution to the problem, he is going to write a medicine. That is called your suggestions. This is what basically you understand. So first job, what you have to do is literature review. Literature review in the sense, I think, let me take a small example. You are going to study the NPA of a banks. NPA stands non-performing assets of a banks. First of all, what is NPA? You should understand. Basic definitions you understand. right? Is there any project reports they have done on NPA? You have to take into consideration. You have to read that projects. That's what the initial stage I am advising the students. You see, irrespective of your topic, you go to the project report. In the second one, you have selected a topic and you try to search for such a project reports, whether by and large the topic related projects are there or not. Friends, you say, I no need to tell you. And in Google, how much information is available? How much, how many, like, projects are uploaded? So what I request you, instead of looking the Facebook or something, YouTube all the time, you try to spare your, like, Google search for all these things also, this thing also, which is very useful to you. Then you are going to understand what actually the project report. The first one, my dear friends, like you say, literature review. Once you got the literature review, and after the reviews, and your problem statement is very clear, right? Now, generally the project reports topics are like this, Amma, with a change of 10% plus or minus. Simple project report structure is consisting, like, introduction. I will tell you what is the introduction, then followed by review of the literature. Third one, study methodology. Fourth one, data analysis and interpretation. And fifth one, findings. The next one is recommendations. Or findings and recommendations, you can put it in the same one, in a tabular form. One side finding, then suggestion. Finding, suggestion. Then the people are going to understand it, right? And followed by bibliography, annexures, if any. Bibliography in the sense, like, what are the books you have referred, what are the newspapers you have referred, and what are the articles you have referred, that is called as the reference. That's very simple, right? Annexures. Suppose if you have a questionnaire, that is called one annexure. And if you have gathered a data from banks, that is called annexure 2, right? If any special information you got it through unstructured questionnaire or the structured questionnaire, that is going to be the third one. If any annexures, there is no limit at all, actually, that you can put it. So here, now the thing is, we have gone to the library, irrespective of your topic you have gone through. After you have decided the topic, then also you have gone to the library or Google, search for the relevant information on your one. That means 2 stages are completed. Third one, you see, like sometimes your project report is based on data only, which is already available. That is what data, you can see primary data and secondary data. What is primary data means? You are going to collect the data for the first time, that is called primary data. Or the data you are doing a project report based on the already the data available, secondary data. That means the project can be either way or this way, or the combination of two, right? And if your project is, you see, based on the secondary data, like, you are going to calculate the non-performing assets of a banks or interest rates of a banks, right? And something, and most of the times the marketing topics are, like finance topics are 70% based on the secondary data. Or funds flow analysis you are doing, ratio analysis doing, 70 or 80% of the finance projects are based on the secondary data. You have to analyze the data. And sometimes 20% you are going to interact with the bank officials, top management. But when it comes to the HR projects or the marketing projects, they're always based on the primary data. 80% of the projects, they are based on the primary data. That means they have to design a questionnaire and they have to go to the people, they have to collect the data, systematic arrangement of the data, apply some statistical technique, right? Or statistical tool, analyze the data, then present it, then go for the findings and the suggestions. So here, first one, what you have to do, don't do anything. You go to the second topic. I told you the second topic is literature review. First, don't focus on the first chapter. Try to focus on the second chapter, that is called literature review. I think as far the project is concerned, in PhD, we demand 50 to 100 reviews. But as this is the project report, 50 to 100 reviews are not required. What is the literature review? Simply understand, my dear students, you see, and you have seen a project report related to your topic. Go through the project. The concept of that project you try to represent in 10 to 15 lines. 10 to 15 lines or 5 to 10 lines. That is correct. And you have a book on your topic. The concept of that what he has mentioned and mention 5 to 10 lines. Here you are going to get an enormous knowledge. I think when you face an interview, I assure you from my side, my dear students, you are going to be very, very comfortable. Then go back to the introduction topic. For example, you say the customer behavior of a particular company. This is more or less, you see, like, the background topic, what actually you understand the customer, what actually you understand the customer behavior, and all these things which you have to represent in a 10 to 15 pages, that including basic definitions and so on. Variables of the customer behavior, key factors of the customer behavior. Suppose if you're doing a project on banking about the loans, like, what is the loan structure? How many types of loans are there? Each loan, what is the interest rate? What is the duration? That is what, if you're doing a HRM project, human resource management and compensation management, you're doing, like, what is compensation management? Types of compensation management, right? You see, and what people are expecting, whether they're happy. This is what actually the things which you have to put it in the introduction topic, right? So, two topics you have completed, and sometimes you see, most of the times the students wants to add another chapter, that is a brief history of industry and company. For example, like, you're trying to study compensation management of Tata. Tata is a one company. You are doing the project in the Tata company, but what is compensation management in overall in the industry? That is what you have to mention. That is what a brief introduction about the change management or the compensation management or the brief history of NPA, right? Related to your own bank or your own company, followed by the industry. That is what you try to add another chapter as a third chapter. So first one is introduction. This is more or less, you see, cut and paste only, but don't do the cut and paste. You study, write in your own words. Second one is, I told you, the review of literature. Therefore, you are going to get a strong understanding of your topic. The third one is about the industry and about your company. If you want to put it in one chapter, you can put it. Otherwise, if you want to put it, enlarge the chapters number of, if you want to have more number of chapters, this you put it about the industry is a one chapter and about the companies another chapter. Generally, people will put both in a single chapter, but there's no hard and fast limitations or the structure of the project report. And this is the structure, but you can have a flexibility at that point. Number two. Then third chapter, the next chapter, the name itself is a study methodology. Some people will name it as a research methodology, but little controversy is there. But this is not the research actually. Research is that related to the MPhil or the PhD degrees. But if you want to mention the topic, chapter name itself is a research methodology, you can do it. Nothing wrong. But I appreciate if you do it study methodology. That means what kind of methodology you are going to. Here, friends, one thing is most important. That is called objectives of your study. Please remember, actually, sometimes I have seen topic is one, objectives are others. Sometimes the topic and objectives are okay, but your objectives are something, your findings are something. Sometimes your findings are something and your recommendations are something. That means there is no linkage between your topic, your objectives, your findings, and your conclusions and your suggestions. Always, my dear friends, please write this word. The linkage you need to establish between the topic to objectives to analysis to conclusions and suggestions. If there is any overlap in this one, that means you did not understand the sequence of this one and you have missed it because you did not understand anything. This is the way the people who are going to catch you in the evaluation of the project or in the interview. So here, the objectives. The people say that, sir, sometimes my students are, how many objectives should be? There is no hard and fast rule, my dear candidates, my dear participants. That, like you see, that depends on the validity and the nature of the topic what you have selected. Sometimes 3 objectives are sufficient. Sometimes you require 5 to 6 objectives, right? And your knowledge and the skill goes to writing these objectives, provided that if you give you one guarantee, that is, you have done the literature review correctly on your own. The second thing, introduction chapter is you only have written on your own. Once you completed these two topics with the brief introduction of the company or the industry, I think writing of the objects are going to be a cakewalk for you. Without doing these three, if you step your foot in designing the objectives, I think most of the time they are wrong objectives because you did not understand the problem at all. Without understanding the problem, how you are going to design the objectives? So the first one, the next one, like to get these objects, what kind of data you are collecting? Well, it's the primary data or the secondary data. You decide. If it is a primary data, and you should have a questionnaire, whether it is structured questionnaire or unstructured questionnaire, is no issue, but the questionnaire should be there. And the next one is, once you design the questionnaire, like from how many people you want to get this data? Is it 50 or 100, 200 or 500? Like that, it depends on the volume of your topic or volume of the people that are available, and you collect from them. And after collection of the data, how you are going to analyze? Simply you are going to analyze data in the percentages, no issue. Mention percentages. And you want to go for a higher statistics or higher financial tools or statistical tools, you mention it, but use it. Once you mention, and you are bound to use it. And once you use these statistical tools, you see, I think the right approach is that right statistical tool or right financial tool or right some tool and which are relevant to analyze your data. This you have to mention in this chapter actually. Then followed by like what are the limitations of your study. Sometimes you see like your study is confined to only Hyderabad. This is the one limitation. Or your study is related to only this company. That means whatever the results is coming out from this company, they may be validated to other companies or not. That you have to mention. Or your study related to only Telangana. Or your study is related to and one sub company only. Whatever the limitations, sometimes our students will put the limitations. Sir, time is a limitation, and I have got only 30 days time. Therefore, that is the wrong limitation. Actually, I'm telling you, limitation cannot be the time. 2 years time has given to you, but still you are mentioning the time is a limitation. That's not correct actually. So that is what. And finally, what you have to mention, the chapterization process. Again, you have to mention what are the number of the chapters. Chapter 1, what's the name? Chapter 2, what's the name? Chapter 3, what's the name? And so on. At least these are the minimum requirements, you see. And before that, you have to write about the problem statement. The beginning itself, from the problem statement, your objectives are emerged. Next, the next one is important chapter. Let me complete very fast. Therefore, we'll take some certain questions. Data analysis and interpretation. You have collected data. You have analyzed the data. Now you have to interpret the data. This is the only one exclusive chapter. This is what. So now the question is how to analyze the data. Sometimes you see candidates I have seen objective wise they're analyzing the data. Sometimes you see if you're going to analyze the data objective wise, there is a limitation actually. That means you are not considering the concept of the second objective. But I suggest you don't go by objective wise analysis. You go by the overall concept of these objectives. Suppose you have 4 objectives. All the 4 objectives put together is your problem definition or the concept of the project report. That is what you try to analyze the data, not by the objective wise. Up to this one, this chapter is the fourth chapter or the 5th chapter, and you have gained a lot. Right from identifying the problem, literature review, introduction, about the company, about the industry, and you have gathered the secondary data or the primary data. You have arranged the data very systematically and you have analyzed. Now your brain is so equipped with the knowledge of the project report. The next chapter will move, that is findings. From your data analysis, what kind of findings? Sometimes you see, I am conducting the project in one company about the compensation management. Employees are very happy with the salary or not, or whether they're happy with the fringe benefits or not, whether they're having the work-life balance or not, right? And what kind of company is caring for them. Like you see, these are the things which will emerge as the findings from your analysis. In case of banking sector, you see, and about the interest rates, what is the effect of the interest rates you are going to analyze and you are going to mention. So all these things, analysis, if you do carefully, the next chapter is going to be very easy to you. That is called findings. And finally, and you're going for the recommendations. Friends, here, this entire process, you see, there are 5 stages in this project. If you focus on the first stage, second stage is a cakewalk for you. If you don't focus on the first stage, second stage will be critical, third stage you will fail, but there are another 2 stages you never touch it. That is what going to the copy of the project report from a source. I request you don't do it. And after the first semester, in the second semester itself, you decide the topic, decide your area, core area, then start working it. Therefore, at the end of the third semester or beginning of the fourth semester, your project report is completed. Only you have to arrange in a systematic order and take the printout and submit it. Friends, before my lecture, be cautious in this project report, you see, because this is only the practical content. If you do this project in a practical content, I assure you, and on your area or the other area, definitely you are going to be employed. There is no doubt in that one. So the structured project report consisting introduction, review of literature, about the industry, about the company, study methodology, then data analysis and interpretation, then findings, conclusions, and suggestions. And if you're able to do this, this is sequence, my dear friends, I think the failure rate will be minimum. That's what. Thank you very much. If any queries are there, I take for 5 to 10 minutes because they're already 12:10 because the time they have given to 11 to 12 only, but introduction, inauguration took a little time. And please feel free to ask your doubts, please.
Hi, sir. This is Srinath from HRM.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Please.
I have a question, sir. By the God grace, if the project goes well, is university will help in taking for further steps?
Actually, yeah, I'll tell you, this is a general question, my dear friend, actually. And where is the question that the university doesn't take a further positive things to you? Because when you are looking at the project report, and not only evaluation the project report, and you have to present this project report in a Viva, correct? And when you're presenting the sequence of this project report, what you have done, and very correctly, definitely the university will appreciate. But before that, what I'm trying to say, whoever the supervisor is allotted to you, kindly interact with that supervisor from time to time. At least 2 to 3 times you interact with what you have supposed to do. Understand it. What you have done, show it to him, get his appreciation. Then what are the suggestions given by your supervisor of the project, you try to implement. Where's the person that the university or the supervisor will not appreciate you? Definitely they will appreciate it you, provided that, and you have a time to interact with them. Interaction is more important with the supervisor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, next.
Sir,
Madam.
So you said the first step is identifying the problem.
Yes, madam.
So there should be we should visit a few times to identify the problem. Is there anything like that to know what actual the problem is in the industry?
Yes, madam. Actually, you have selected a problem. What is your specialization, madam?
Hospital management, sir.
Hospital management. Is it related to hospitals or some other hospitality management also is there?
No, sir. Only hospital management.
Hospitals, madam. Yes. Let us say that you have selected topic of patient satisfaction. This is the overall. Patient satisfaction.
Patient satisfaction.
This patient satisfaction, you, before starting your project, you have to interact to know the problem very clearly. You need to interact with both the patients, doctors, and nurses also.
Okay.
When you interact more number of times, you see, one day or the other, your problem will come out. Madam, your hospital, if Nageshwara comes to your hospital, and first you are going to suggest me complete blood picture. If that is clear, no second test. If that is not clear, then the doctor will decide which test I have to undergo. If that is not clear, he is going to recommend for the MRI. If that is not clear, some other test. You see, this is the sequence of the process. If you are able to spare your valuable time 3 to 4 times, if you are able to interact with the people, targeted audience, then your problem statement is going to be very clear.
Okay.
Unless you
So
want to
this,
sit in the house and you want to define a problem, you should not, you have to define, but after interacting with the target people only, you have to define the problem. Sometimes without interaction, if you're going to define the problem, that may go wrong, madam.
okay, sir, I got you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
Hello.
Yes, sir, please.
Sir, my question is there any plagiarism percentage required for this project?
What's that? What is that?
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism, actually, that time to time it will change. That Anand sir will tell you, Anand Power sir will tell you what is the percentage of the plagiarism. He will tell you. Don't worry about it. That means that is once upon a time it was 30% in the PhD submitted. Now it is only the 10% actually. So you see, plagiarism, you don't worry actually. When you are doing the project report from your pen, where is the question of problem with the plagiarism, sir? Once you are copied from some source, then you should have a fear of the plagiarism, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Anand.
Thank you,
Shall I hand over back to you?
Thank you, Professor Rao. Yeah, very good interaction, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful talk and interaction with all the participants. And I think many questions were raised and answered during this program. And I'm very thankful and grateful to you. And dear participants, now the session, technical session 2 will start by Professor Y.S. Kiranmai. Thank you, Professor, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Bye. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Friends, now technical session 2 will start on project work guidelines or project report guidelines and how to proceed with preparation of project proposal or synopsis before going for project report. And synopsis is all about, a small understanding about the project report or a pilot study kind of report through which we will try to understand that she is able to work. So that is just abstract of your proposed work. So how to understand the project guidelines? What are the important points that you have to make a note of it about these project guidelines? And how to prepare project synopsis or proposal, whether it should be before approaching your supervisor or by the student himself or herself, definitely will be presented and discussed by Professor Y.S. Kiranmai, madam. Yeah, we have our resource person, Professor Y.S. Kiranmai, who is presently working with us in the Department of Business Management as professor. Madam has vast experience, more than 35 years, and she is still working with us. Very dynamic lady of these days. And Madam also worked as Dean of the faculty for about 6-7 years, more than that, and also head for more than 1 decade. Madam has published good number of books, more than 25, edited and course coordinated for more than 750 courses in B.R. Ambedkar Open University self-learning material. Madam has several publications in her credit, more than 20 papers, rich administrative experience, and she is also Best Teacher Awardee from the State Government of Telangana. Madam has professional membership with several organizations, say Indian Commerce Association, Management Association, Indian Accounting Association, and Telangana Commerce Association, and so on. So with this brief introduction of Madam Y.S. Kiranmai, she is going to talk about how to prepare project synopsis and proposal. That is, in a way, we call it guidelines on project report preparation or project report guidance. So now I request Madam Y.S. Kiranmai to start your talk, and definitely, friends, you will enjoy the session. But you have to be little careful about Madam, because Madam is very fast. You have to catch up. I hope all youngsters can catch up easily. But we have to stop her as and when we required to seek your clarification. Don't worry about it. Just later way I'm saying. So friends, let us enjoy the session. Madam Kiranmai, please start your session.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Baba, for a nice introduction. So I'm happy to interact with the students, with the faculty, and other resource persons who joined this session today. Actually, Professor Nageswara sir has already covered so many things about how to prepare a project, how to select a topic, how to prepare a synopsis, how to prepare a report, because we are hearing what sir is explaining. So he already almost given an overview of the research project work for MBA students. In addition to enlightening you or creating an awareness in you about how important the project work is, he almost given a bird's eye view about the research work. So all these things. So now actually, our main intention of this session is because you know that we upload project guidelines. We request others to kindly mute your session. So that you can hear you. Please mute your audio so that you can be able to hear me clearly. Friends, we all normally upload the project guidelines. That is the guidelines according to which actually you have to prepare the project synopsis, and finally how you have to prepare the final project report and submit it. But in spite of that, normally we receive so many calls from the department side, and actually there is no uniformity in the preparation of project synopsis. The project synopsis preparation is the most important task, because unless you take the approval for the synopsis, first of all, you are not supposed to proceed on your project work because otherwise it may be rejected. So that's why actually you have to take maximum care for the preparation of the project synopsis. Otherwise, rejections will be more. You have to resubmit again and again. So before actually starting the session, my sincere request to all the students, either it is MBA or MBA Healthcare or PG Diploma or Change for Management students, please go through the guidelines very carefully. Uploaded for all the departments separately, we prepare the guidelines, and we are uploading the guidelines separately for MBA or Healthcare Management students or CNG or PG Diploma students. So please go through the guidelines carefully before actually starting working on your project proposal, and then you can proceed further. So now today's session is on the guidelines on the preparation of the project work proposal or synopsis, because the other aspects will be dealt by the resource persons of the next sessions. Oh, slide show better. Yeah. So now what is a research proposal or a synopsis? A synopsis is a gist of the planned project submitted for approval from the competent authorities. Here, the competent authority in our department is the Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Business Management. Of course, you have to submit the proposal to the head of the department, but ultimately, after scrutiny by the head of the department, the ultimate approval authority is the Dean of the faculty concerned. So the synopsis is an outline of the entire research proposal. It will give a bird's eye view about your research process. That is, what's that you want to do, why you want to do, how you want to do, and what are your study objectives, what is the hypothesis, what is methodology you want to adopt for the data collection, for data analysis, and all those things. Before actually starting your research work, you have to prepare this proposal. And here, as I mentioned just now, you include all the major points. Radhakrishna, next slide వెళ్ళట్లేదు. Stuck అవుతుంది. Why? Slide show. Yeah, the purpose of why actually you have to prepare the project proposal or the synopsis. Unless you get clarity, what's that you want to do, why you want to do this on this particular topic, you cannot proceed further. So to get clarity about what you intend to take up, the project or the study you intend to take up, and as I said, to get clearance from the department to avoid problems in future. Unless you take approval by sensitization to all the students, is don't start your project work, because sometimes the problem we are facing is 2 or more students are selecting the same topic of the same organization. In that case, first approved. Suppose we receive the project synopsis. Let us take, for example, recruitment and selection process in XYZ organization. And suppose we receive synopsis on the same topic from more than one candidate. So on the basis of the first, the proposal received from the first candidate, normally if it is okay, we'll give approval to the candidate. The other 2 will be rejected. We will suggest them to change the topic. The same organization you may take, XYZ organization, but you have to select some other topic, maybe performance appraisal, maybe training development, if your specialization is HR area. And if you are doing, if your specialization is some other area, no issues at all. You can take XYZ organization, if finance, you can select a topic from finance area, operations, you can choose a topic from operations area. And obtaining the approval from the department is a prerequisite to start the work. Unless and until normally after receiving the proposal from the student, maximum within 1 month, we'll clear the processing and we'll send the approval copy to the student. So unless and until you receive the approval, please don't start your project work. What's the synopsis format through which you have to submit your synopsis, or the format of the format to prepare the synopsis? Before actually starting the writing work, what we expect the student to do is, you have to identify 2 or 3 topics from your area of specialization. If you are an MBA student, from your area of specialization, because normally we advise the student to do the project work in your area of specialization. And of course, PG diploma students, from your post study, and MBA healthcare management students in whatever area you are interested. Identify 2 or 3 topics, approach your research supervisor, discuss with him. And here I would like to share one more point is, even I covered in our inaugural function also, the department has identified few research supervisors or the guides, the faculty members, and also the practitioners who are interested in acting as research supervisors. So the list of the research supervisors will be uploaded in the website shortly. So you can contact them, or even other than these identified guides, you can also approach any other faculty member or a practitioner, because most of you might be working in some organization. You can select your own boss as your guide. Suppose he fulfill the requirements to act as a project guide. All these guidelines are already mentioned clearly in the project guidelines uploaded in the university website. So after selecting your guide, then approach an organization, consult your research guide, and also consult the organization what area actually they want you to study, and then finalize the topic and proceed further to prepare the synopsis. So this is the format through which you have to prepare your project synopsis. First, you have to mention the introduction of the study. I'll cover later briefly about all these things. Review of literature, then you have to mention need for the study, statement of the problem, objectives and hypothesis of the study, scope and period of study, methodology and database, plan of study, or chapterization. This is the format. We request all the students to follow this format while preparing the synopsis. Even we request the research supervisors, see that the students prepare and submit the proposal as per this format. Otherwise, again, they may have to face few problems. What is the introduction of, before actually writing the introduction, you have to clearly mention the title of the project. The title of the project should be very clear. It should be precise. It should be not be too long or too short. And the main problem, what we are facing while processing the synopsis is, okay, working capital management in an organization. The student don't mention what is the name of the organization or recruitment and selection process in an organization. Because normally in the project guidelines uploaded by the university, we give such type of titles because we cannot list all the organizations. So as a suggestive indicative titles, we only give. So by writing the title on the approval format, it is the responsibility of the student and the research supervisor to write clearly, okay, working capital management in XYZ organization or XYZ company private limited, recruitment and selection process in XYZ company limited, marketing strategies in XYZ company limited. You have to mention very clearly the title of the project, because you might have seen on most of the approvals normally we write which organization actually the candidates are. So please don't give such type of scope to the head of the department or head of the faculty. This is a responsibility of the student to write. It should be complete, because it is a central point. After seeing the title itself, first of all, we have to get clarity. Okay, this is the focal point of the student. And it should be mistake-free. Because most of the times we are observing is there are mistakes in the title, in the verbs, or in the spelling mistakes in the titles, because it is almost masterpiece in your lifetime, particularly in case of fresh graduates. Because tomorrow you may take this project report while for attending the interviews or so. If they see the title, if they see some mistake in your title itself, actually it may give some wrong signal to the prospective employer. So please see that it is mistake-free. So please take enough care to write the title itself. The first part in the synopsis is introduction to the study. This is a brief background about the topic you selected for the study. As we are discussing, suppose you want to select a recruitment and selection process. Here you have to mention clearly about one page. You have to write what is recruitment, what is selection, what are the major steps in the selection process, what are the various methods of recruitment. Just you can list out about at least one page. You have to write about the theoretical background of the topic you selected for study. Such a working capital management, what is working capital management, types of working capital management, what are the various ratios normally used to analyze the working capital performance, all those things. And you spelled out the importance of the study in the field, why you selected this particular topic for your research. And it has to give a link for the further presentation of the synopsis. It has to give a brief introduction and lead to the next sections of the synopsis. Then after writing the introduction to the study, the next major task of a student as well as the research supervisor is review of literature. Because unless you review the literature available on the given topic, existing literature, you cannot identify the research gap and you cannot finalize the topic. So review of literature, it provides a background and the context related to the problem of study. It briefly discusses similar works. Suppose, again, we are discussing about recruitment and selection process. So what are the works previously done on this particular aspect? They may be research articles or thesis of a PhD thesis or MPhil thesis or whatever it may be. What are the similar works done by the other researchers on this particular field? So on the basis of reviewing the research works already did in the field, then you can be able to identify the research gap. Suppose, again, we are discussing about the recruitment selection process in XYZ company limited. So nobody has taken up any work relating to recruitment selection process in XYZ company limited. They selected some other organizations and did the work. Then absolutely no problem. Immediately you can select the topic as per research work. And suppose they might have already done a work on recruitment selection process in XYZ company limited. Then you have to see which period actually they covered earlier. If the work was done about some 5 years back or 6 years back or 10 years back, then again, because the gap is there may be some changes taken place in the process of recruitment, in the recruitment method. So again, you can select. So this Research review of literature helps you in identifying the research gap, a strong justification for selecting the. And for, of course, project work students, you can review about some 15 to 20, 10 to 15 or to 15 to 20, not more than that. Because if it is MPhil or PhD, normally we insist in students to review as many number of articles or theses as possible. For project work, you can review up to 10 to 15. And this review of literature may not be that much exhaustive. But one thing, make sure that the collection of information is from authenticated sources. Of course, while covering the database, I will just explain you more about what are the authenticated sources. Try to collect information from authenticated sources. And whatever the review of literature you presented here, that has to be supported by references at the end of the project report submitted by you. So now, on the basis of the review of literature, you have to identify the research gap, and on the basis of which you have to write the significance of the study or rationale of the study. Research gap, as I just now told you, it shows a problem area which was not done so far, which was the research work was done long back ago, and you were not reviewed so far because you may review very few articles or theses. So you are not reviewed. So you can say that, okay, this is the research work which I want to take up. Or it can be altogether a new idea. Okay, these are the works already done by some other scholars. So this is a new idea which was not tackled by any other so far. So I just want to tap you. And here, one more point, we would like to request the research supervisors and also the students is, even our deans are across the power asked me to insist on it. Please try to avoid already the topics which were tested repeatedly, like this working capital management. Why I'm explaining why I selected an example of recruitment selection means because it's easy for you to understand. So please try to avoid topics on working capital management, training and development, performance appraisal, recruitment and selection. Try to take up new ideas. So that will really help the organization which is selected for your study, and you also will have that satisfaction. So altogether, a new thought process you can. Coming to the significance of the study or rationale of the study, it is a justification or the reason. Okay, recruitment. Okay, nobody has done any work on recruitment selection in XYZ organization. Why you want to select this organization on this particular work? Is there really any issue in that organization regarding recruitment and selection? It is a justification or reason for taking a study and its importance in the research field. So while writing the significance of the study, first you provide and discuss the existing data, what are the works already did in this area on this topic. And based on this background, you identify the research gaps or the issues, and that's why you think it is important to issue or address these things. It also elaborates, and actually you have to show that this is my contribution in the field of research. So this is how actually your research is going to impact others. So normally while writing the project report, at the end we will write what is the contribution of the research in future. So at that time, actually it's useful. So now coming to the problem statement. The problem statement is the formulation of the specific research questions you want to investigate, following logically from your rationale and approach you and planning to use this. For example, again, that takes the same example. Your research is based on the major problem issues in organization in regard to recruitment selection. So the organization may ask you to do some research on do the HR personnel pay due attention to the recruitment and selection methods and process, or do they follow their own way to recruit and select the employees? And you all know that there are so many changes in the recruitment methods. The traditional methods are there and the modern methods are there. So what the outcome of the traditional versus modern recruitment and selection methods? Which is actually better for our organization, better for the given organization? Is it the traditional methods or is it the modern methods? And of course, only traditional methods may not be suitable to fill all the positions. To recruit a certain cadre of employees, modern methods may be more suitable. To recruit certain cadre of employees, traditional methods may be more suitable. So the organization may ask you to study all those things. So this is a statement of the problem. The organization is facing some issue in the recruitment and selection. So these are the research questions which I would like to address after completing my research. So on the basis of the statement of the problem and the research questions, now you have to write your study objectives. Objectives are the statements that give clarity to the research. That is what actually he or she want to do in his or her research. This is the end result, what ultimately I would like to prove, I would like to achieve. This establish even the scope. What is the extent to what even recruitment and selection is a vast area. So what's that you want to concentrate? Now, while doing your research on this particular area, and this contribute to your research design. Actually, again, one more sincere suggestion to all the guides and the students is, you have to spend maximum time on the preparation of the synopsis, in finalizing your research, in identifying your research gap, in writing your objectives of the study, your hypothesis, and your methodology. Almost, if it is clear, if you are clear at this juncture, and almost your research is halfway through, then it's easy for you to proceed further. Unless you get clarity here, then it's difficult for you to proceed. Again, take the example of recruitment selection process in XYZ Company Limited. How you want to write, how actually we suggest you to write the objectives of your study. To understand, the first objective will be to understand the role, importance, and process of recruitment and selection in organizations in general. This is actually a theoretical background of the recruitment selection which you cover. And to present a profile of the company selected for your study, and to understand and analyze the existing process of recruitment and selection in XYZ Company Limited. Here you identify, you examine what are the present recruitment methods, the present selection process, and all these things you cover. And finally, to know the perception of the respondents, that is, employees selected for your study, sample employees, about the existing recruitment and selection, whether they are satisfied or not satisfied. Of course, this is only suggestive way of writing the objectives. These are all flexible. That depends on the topic you have to, after discussing with your research guide, after discussing with the organization which you want to do your study, you have to write your objectives of the study. But normally this is the way we are telling is because there should be a linkage between the objectives of the study and the chapterization. Ultimately, how many chapters you have to present your research or final report. Normally, this first chapter, we call it as introduction chapter. It is an extended version of your synopsis. There you mention clearly the objectives of your research review of literature. You write in a more lengthy manner, because synopsis normally you write in 4 to 5 pages. That's it. But whereas project report, it can run up to 80 pages, including your appendices, tables, and whatever it is. So here, the first chapter is an introduction chapter. It's an extended version of your synopsis, where you write more lengthily about your review of literature and the methodology, your sample size, what's the method to which you selected the sample size, your data analysis techniques used. Here, actually, you write only, we're planning to use this data analysis techniques. But whereas while writing the report, you write clearly, okay, these are the data analysis techniques used by me. So these are the analysis techniques used by me, my hypothesis, to test my hypothesis. So this is writing of objectives. It is only a guideline. Depending on your topic, you can change. But the first 2 was, that is, this is about the background of your topic, and the next one is the profile of the company. And the later was maximum 3 to 4 objectives, not more than that. See that there is clarity. After finalizing the objectives, then the next step in the research synopsis preparation is writing your hypothesis. What is hypothesis? In plural form, it is known as hypothesis. It's a specific, testable, and logical prediction about anticipated results of the study. What's that you want to prove after studying, after conducting this particular research in the organization? They are the basis of the inquiry. In most studies, hypothesis is based on your own assumption. Okay, what I am thinking about recruitment selection in XYZ organization, or on the basis of the review of literature you already covered. Okay, what some Professor Kiranbhai is thinking about recruitment and selection in XYZ organization. Suppose I already published a paper. I thought that the recruitment and selection process is not done properly. There are certain rules. Then you may say, okay, what are the rules? Why actually Madam Kiranbhai felt like this? So you, on the basis of your own observation or on the observation of others who already did some research on this particular topic, you can formulate your hypothesis. And of course, one point which I would like to inform you that for formulation of hypothesis is not mandatory. And for few topics, even you need not formulate the hypothesis. But if you formulate the hypothesis, then you get clarity how you want to proceed. It's almost to provide a way for your investigation, for your navigation. So it will provide a focus to you. The hypothesis, while formulating the hypothesis, you have to test the relationship between the variables. You know that you want to, while proceed further in my next session, Professor Patrick is going to cover what are the dependent variables, what are the dependent variables, how actually you can select and what are the analysis techniques you can use. So you have to establish a relationship between the dependent variables and the independent variables. There are various types of hypotheses, but basically for MBA project work, we advise the students to form a null hypothesis. A null hypothesis is it proposes to establish two variables denoted by HO or H naught. It is a negative statement. Null hypothesis means it's a negative statement. Like, for example, attending physiotherapy sessions does not affect athletes' on-field performance. Or take our own example. Traditional methods of recruitment are not suitable to recruit certain cadre of employees. This is just, for example, I've given only one hypothesis, for example. This is null. This is negative. It's not impact others. And alternative, you do not write both. Either you have to write only null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, it's just opposite to null hypothesis. It's a positive way of writing a hypothesis. It is devoted as H1 or HA. Again, take the examples. Attending physiotherapy sessions improves athletes' on-field performance. It is a positive one. Traditional methods of recruitment are more suitable to recruit so-and-so cadre of employees. Again, it is positive. Null is negative one. Alternative is a positive one. You have to write the hypothesis only as a null one or an alternative one, but not one. And finally, if the null is rejected, means alternative hypothesis is accepted. That's it. And you have to test finally what is the result of your hypothesis. And based on your objectives, you have to write hypothesis. You can identify some 2, 3, or 4 hypotheses, depends on the scope of your topic. After finalizing the hypothesis, the next area is added in project synopsis is scope of your study and the period of your study. Scope of your study, it gives the boundaries within which you want to perform your research project. Recruitment and selection is a vast one. And you want to select recruitment selection of only one cadre of employees, confine your scope only to that one, because in any organization, so many cadres of employees will be there. So you cannot cover all cadres of employees. So which cadre of employees you want to select? Or if the company is such a very big one and you want to choose only one department in that organization. Suppose you want to take a pharma company, so many departments will be there. So you want to confine your study only to one department? Okay, you must confine your scope to that department. Or the company has so many branches geographically. So you want to take only one branch. Okay, confine again. So if you define your scope of study, tomorrow the less number of questions you face in VIVOS examination, because project is linked with VIVOS. Unless you submit the project report, you cannot attend VIVOS examination. And most of the questions in VIVOS are based on the project report submitted by the student. So you should be very clear. Otherwise, tomorrow you have to face the problem. Why you have not covered this? Why you are not covered this? So defining the scope is very important. You have to define the various parameters which you included in your study and which are excluded from your study. Like I said, geographical or the sample and all those things. And the period of study. The period of study is the data belong to which period you collected to conduct the study. Particularly, period of study is very important for the students of finance or even operations, because suppose finance, you are doing your topic on working capital management. So the data belong to previous how many years? Minimum 5 years data should be collected if you're in finance area. So the annual reports and all those things. So period of study is the data belong to which period you collecting. And if you are collecting primary data, okay, how many days the data belonging to past, the latest one, how many days you spent on collection of the data, and all those things have to be covered here. So your period of study is the next one. So after writing the period of study, the next aspect to be covered in the synopsis is research design. Here I am mentioning very briefly because the next session is your data collection methods and also analysis techniques, how actually various techniques are available. So research design is a description of the research methodologies that will be used to collect and analyze the data and to address the research questions and objectives. So depending on your research questions and objectives, now you have to select. So, okay, what is your sample size? Because as I said, there may be hundreds or thousands of employees in an organization. So how many people you want to select as your sample size? What is the universe? Universe means what is the total number of employees? And from them, what is your sample size? And the minimum sample size should be 100 for the project work. For MPhil or PhD cases, the sample should be more. For PhD, normally we suggest that the sample should be 600 also. And for MPhil work, it should be some 200 or 300. So please see that the sample is. And one more point which we observed is that just collecting employee responses or the responses from the customer like 10 or 20 and they're preparing and submitting the report. No, that's not the way. The minimum sample should be 100. And what's the sampling technique you used? Is it random sampling, simple random sampling, or cluster sampling, or snowball sampling? There are so many sampling techniques which you might have already studied in your quantitative analysis course. And if you are thorough quantitative analysis course, you get answers for all these questions. So what is the sampling technique you use to collect to decide your sample size? And what are the data collection methods? Is it primary data or secondary data? If it is primary data, then what is the research instrument you are using to collect the data? Is it questionnaire method, or is it observation, or it is a schedule? So all these things you have to decide at this stage. And then you have to tell what are the techniques of analysis you want to use. Of course, I already told that at the preparation stage of the synopsis, you cannot tell, okay, these are the analysis techniques I'm going to use, because you are not clear. So after collecting the data only, then you get clarity. Okay, this is more suitable for my work. I can use the test. I can use the tester. And Nageswara sir already told, you can use chi-square or ANOVA or whatever test you want to use. After collection of data, then you get more clarity. But primarily, okay, well, these are the tests which may be relevant or appropriate for my study. But after collection of data, then you get more clarity. So what are the techniques you want to use for data analysis and to test the hypothesis? So these aspects will be covered more detailed way in the next session. And then what is the research database? I already told that collection of information while reviewing the literature, collection of information from authenticated sources is the most important thing. Research database or the websites in which you can find professional resources. And normally we try to get some information from the normal search engines, but it is not authenticated, remember. And the articles published in Scope or Test or some other websites are there, which already I'm showing here. They are more authenticated. So try to get information from such sources, hence you can rely on them. And you can use different platforms to get the information so that your scope, your insight into the topic will be more. Having reliable sources can really help you to find support your work and ensure that you get accurate information. So this is about research database. And this is a plan of the study or chapterization. This is the last one which you have to mention in your synopsis. The introduction, I already, here you don't write anything. This you can mention at the end of the synopsis that, okay, the first chapter introduction, that is an extended version of your synopsis. Here, whatever you want to cover, just mention briefly there. That here you are going to correct the introduction about the topic, the review of literature, your research gap, your statement of the problem, and objectives, hypothesis, sampling selection methodology, sample selection, analysis techniques, everything. And theoretical background about the topic, either it is working capital marketing management or marketing strategies or recruitment selection or performance appraisal, the theoretical background about the topic. That is actually, if you remember the objectives which we already discussed, the second objective of your study is providing a theoretical background about the topic. So here in chapter 2, you cover the theoretical background. And the third chapter is a profile of the organization selected by your study. Again, the second objective is the presenting the profile of the company. And the next one is existing system or practices or policies in the given organization. What is the existing system? That data analysis. This, and normally we have given this as data analysis. After discussing with your kid, after collection of data, depending on your topic, you can choose, okay, this is the exact title suitable for my work. And the last one is findings, conclusions, and sessions. And the entire report can run through 80 pages high site, and the synopsis 4 to 5 pages. And at the end of the project report, here you do not give any annexures or bibliography at the end of the synopsis. Annexures and bibliography you have to give only at the end of the project report. So introduction, theoretical background, profile of the company, existing systems, practices and policies, data analysis, findings and conclusions, sessions, annexures, and bibliography. This is the rough chapterization which you have to follow while preparing the final project. And the checklist, which you have to be very careful while submitting the synopsis or the project report. Because normally why we are giving this checklist is so many items are missing. The students are sending only few things and not sending other things. So while sending the synopsis for approval to the department, first of all, you have to send the typed version of the, not manuscript, we are not accepting. Typed version of the original synopsis runs into some 4 to 5 pages. Annexure 1. Annexure 1, actually here, the research supervisor will give the details of the candidates working under his or her guidance for the given academic year, for suppose 23-24, and for each supervisor can guide only up to 8 research students during that academic year. Doing MBA or other programs from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University as per our guidelines. So these are and the research supervisors shall write the names of all the candidates working under his or her guidance for the given academic year, so that the total number of candidates should not exceed 8. So that actually in Annexure 1, all the formats are already given in the project guidelines uploaded in the university websites. And for the coming batches, we'll upload the project guidelines. So please go through all the guidelines. This is Annexure 1. And Annexure 2, this is actually the format of the synopsis approval. This actually, we already enclosed 2 copies. In duplicate, you have to submit 1 copy. The original one will be sent to the students, and the duplicate one, the second copy will be written in the department. Suppose sometimes you may miss it in post or something like that. So the another copy will be kept as an official record in the department. So if any student don't get, we will take a photo of the copy and send it to him. So in duplicate, you have to send the Annexure 2 and the curriculum vitae of the project supervisor. If the supervisor is already in the identified list of the project guides to be uploaded by the department, then you will not send the curriculum vitae of the guide. Or if the guide is a central faculty of the university or already academic counselors, you will not send the curriculum vitae. If other than all these things, if you want to select somebody else as your project guide, or I already told your own boss as your project guide, then you have to enclose the curriculum vitae of your project guide, letter of acceptance original from the organization selected for the study, and self-addressed envelope. This is a checklist to be followed scrupulously by the student while sending the synopsis for approval. And while submitting the final report, this is another checklist I am giving. The original proposal approval copy. Now I told you that you have to send 2 copies. The personal one will be sent to the student and the second one will be retained in the department for revision purpose. The original proposal approval copy issued by the Dean of Faculty of Commerce Business Management, that should be the first page of your project report submitted by you. Letter of acceptance, a photostat copy of the letter of acceptance given by the organization selected for study, and the project completion certificate again issued by the organization of the completion of your study. A certificate issued and signed by the project guide annexure 4 in the project guidelines. A guide has to give a certification that so-and-so did research work under his or her guidance. It is a genuine work and it is a bona fide work. It is annexure 4. And self-declaration by the student, it is an annexure 5 that I did the work, it's my own, it's a self-declaration. And copy of the project synopsis originally approved by the department. Again, you have to enclose it at the end of your project report along with the CD of your project. So all these are the documents to be attached to your final project report. The first one is about the synopsis and the second part is about the final project report. Few common errors I would like to highlight or bring notice to the students and also to the research supervisors. What are the common errors did by the students, and as a result of which you are facing problems, even the department is also facing so many problems as it is, and the rejection rate is more. First of all, incomplete title, I already told in the beginning that title should be complete. Don't let us to write, not like fill in the blanks. So you have to write the complete title. Incomplete title of the details of either the student or the research supervisor. And most of the students, they are not filling. There are so many columns: name of the student, address of the student, phone number, email ID, and also the name and address of the research supervisors. Majority of the students are not filling all these details completely. And the synopsis of that approval format may not be, in certain cases, they are not signed by the student or they are not signed by the research supervisor. See that both of them, they have to sign the approval format before submitting the format to the department for approval, including with the date. Because if you put date, then only we have a record. Actually, when we receive the project synopsis and when we are sending the approval to the student, we maintain a record. And majority of you people are not submitting the letter of permission from the organization, as a result of which again your approval may be impending. Not writing the synopsis in the prescribed format. Now I told you everything is very crystal clear in the guidelines noted by the university. So please follow the format while writing the synopsis. And most of these students are submitting, I told annexure 4 and 5. They should be submitted only along with the project report, but not along with the synopsis. Even the research supervisors, I am sorry to say, the research supervisors are also signing annexures 4 and 5, that is a certification and a declaration at the time of signing synopsis itself. We are receiving along with synopsis all these things. Those, please take care. They have to be submitted only with the project report, not with the synopsis. And preparing project, and another major problem faced by the department is few students, without taking the approval, they are preparing the project report and coming straight away to attend BIOS examination. No, we won't allow such type of students. We don't encourage such type of practices. Taking approval, prior approval before starting the work is mandatory, and you are attending BIOS examination means a project work with all the documents which I already highlighted. Otherwise, again, we may ask the candidate to change the topic and do the work again. So please don't take that sort of risk. And in addition to the guidelines to the students, and we would like to just know, we would like, even because most of the research supervisors or the resource persons wish to act as a project guidance, also join this session. Sir or madam, a sincere request from the department's side is, because all these measures are taken by the department to improve the quality of the research. Please encourage the candidates to do something on their own, which really help them in their career, in their future plans and all those things. So the research supervisors are requested to help or guide the student or advise the students in identifying and framing the problem of the project work, suggest a suitable title of the study, advise the collection of how actually they should go about in the collection of the review of literature, help the student in designing the research methodology, that is how to write the objectives, how to write the hypothesis, and how to select the sample and all those things. Suggest a suitable research method and instrument, whether it is primary data or secondary data. If it is primary data, okay, what are the various instruments they can use to collect the primary data? Or if it is a secondary data, okay, what are the sources they can collect information? And how to select the sample size? And how they can proceed about the collection of data in the preparation of the questionnaire or all those things. And check the raw data submitted by the student, whether it is authenticated or not. Help the student in data analysis. Okay, these are the most appropriate methods of data analysis. And then please correct the project work carefully, and then only permit the student to submit their report. Please see that before actually starting the work, project work, real work on the project, please see that the candidate got approval letter from the department or not, and the permission letter also from the organization selected for the study or not. So these are the sincere requests from the department side. Please spare some time and try to improve and help the department in improving the quality of the project works submitted by the students. So with this brief introduction with this brief presentation about how to prepare the project synopsis. Now, if you have any doubts about the project synopsis preparation, you're welcome. Any questions? And repeatedly we are saying, and please go through the guidelines. Once again, repeatedly we are saying, please go through the guidelines carefully. If you go through the guidelines, normally 99.99% you don't get any doubt. If really you get some doubt, then call on us at any time. We are here to clarify your doubts. Either myself or Professor Pawar or Radhakrishna, we are all available in the department. We can clarify your doubts. I think they should be unmuted. Our administrator have to unmute them. For students. For the participants, they have to unmute.
వస్తున్నాం
Unmute ఎవరైనా చేయలేమని
లేదు వాళ్ళు డైరెక్ట్ రావచ్చు.
Now you can interact either with me or Professor Pawar. Both of us, we are here. You can interact with us and you can seek clarification.
So as the guidelines are concerned, everything is given. If you go through these 14 pages of guidelines, including excluding another 3-4 pages of suggestive guidelines, every point will get clarified. The only thing is we need to do it. Without going through, they are asking, they are visiting the department. Don't visit the department personally, not required. One thing is you have to carefully read the guidelines once or twice. If required, you can approach your guide and seek clarification. Even then, if you are not cleared, then you can approach us. Don't worry about it. But in case of outstation students, it is a little difficult. Yeah. In case of outstation students, it may be difficult to approach the department. But we would advise you to approach the department because everything is given in the project guidelines. It is there on the website as well as nowadays we are giving sharing on the WhatsApp group. And be there in the WhatsApp group, whatever the department or university is forming, because everything will be shared through WhatsApp nowadays and quickly reaching. You may not visit the university website frequently, but WhatsApp, we keep visiting WhatsApp every day and every moment. So use both ways, website as well as WhatsApp groups. So any doubts regarding this? And some of the participants are asking about plagiarism kind of things. As of now, we don't have any policy on plagiarism check, but in future, if any regulatory body imposes, we may have to impose on you. So as of now, that is not a problem, but the thing is you have to take care of not to copy from somebody's work. You try to work on your own study. Definitely there will not be any plagiarism issue. Yeah. Anything? Interaction. We have given several scientists gist of titles for ideas. Don't take as it is. Because for example, employees job satisfaction at so and so organization. We give like this because we don't know which organization that you are going to take up. So you have to make a mention that implies job satisfaction or job satisfaction implies at XYZ company, not an organization, don't use organization, we are using organization because we don't know which organization that you are going to take up. And in writing, there must be three variables. Check it. One is implies to is job satisfaction, B is organization. For example, working capital management in case of NAS. Working capital management practices or something else at so and so organization. But we request all the supervisors to suggest new topics rather than old topics like recruitment and selection, training and development, performance appraisal, working capital management, financial performance, supply chain management in case of operations. Go for some quality management, some employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and so on. And in case of company permission, in case of project report, one thing is very clear. Most of the studies required company permission to go about your project in two phases. Number one is acceptance letter to undertake project report with them. And after completion of your project report, again you have to obtain a completion certificate from the company and include in the project report. That is study completion. So this is mandatory. And one question may come from you. In case of companies won't permit or allow you to undertake the study, then what is the problem? What is the solution? Anybody?
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. There is a lot of echo and we are not able to clearly understand what you are saying.
Okay. Is it okay now?
No, sir. Still we are getting echo.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, please keep your other mobile devices away so that echo sound will not come.
Is it okay now? Hello?
No, still echo is there.
As the titles are concerned, Pawar, I would like to add one more point. The students are saying, putting title as performance appraisal of XYZ organization. Is it employee performance appraisal or financial performance appraisal? Again, we have to refer, okay, what's the specialization opted by the student? We have to see, we are seeing. Okay, his area is finance. Okay, then might be the financial performance appraisal. Or if his specialization is HR, okay, it is employee performance appraisal. So what we want the research supervisors as well as the students, please be clear about the title. And before actually closing the session, I would like to thank all the project or the faculty or the practitioners come forward to act as research supervisors for our students. Thank you, sir or madam. Yeah.
And in case of there is no permission, some of the companies may not allow you to undertake any study in their organization. What is the solution from your end? I'll give you. Don't worry, but I want to hear from you. Yeah, supervisors please interact. If not students, but all of you, it is open. If any company is not giving permission, how to proceed? Number one, try to approach alternative company. because all companies are not same. There are companies who allows you to work. In case if you are not in a position to get permission from the company, particularly this problem arises in rural districts. In Hyderabad, Warangal, or some Karimnagar, major cities, there would be any problem. But still, a couple of the students may find the difficulty also. But the thing is, when you are, but first priority, you should 90% you try to get permission from the company and go about the study. If not, take primary data study, empirical study. Then you need not require any company permission or organization permission from anybody. For example, customer satisfaction towards online banking services or digital banking services. Because all of us are bank customers. You can take it anybody's response, but you have to make a mention the jurisdiction from where you are going to include the respondents. For example, Karimnagar. A case study of Karimnagar. So again, you have to include the responses and the respondents from Karimnagar only.
Sir, excuse me. Sir, excuse me.
Across the state or country or globe. Because online, if you submit your questionnaire, you can get responses from abroad also. But your purpose is not going to serve them. So you have to make a mention that your jurisdiction of the study. If it is Hyderabad, Karimnagar, come on. And similarly, in case of finance, mostly finance area depends on secondary data. But there are scope for primary data also. Customer satisfaction, as I said, bankers, mutual funds, insurance, banking, insurance nowadays emerging area where you can conduct as many studies as possible. So if not possible, and there are some banks will permit you, some banks may not permit you. But in case of employees, if you take as respondents, yes, how to go about it? This is second question with regard to the same issue. For example, what XYZ bank may not permit you to undertake any study, but how to go about their employees? Again, same solution that you have to seek approval. If not, unofficially you can approach the employees without any prior permission from the company. If they accept to give the response, you have to take it. You cannot make it mandatory because it will again become issue. So try to avoid issues in the future. So any questions with regard to this? And in marketing area, you can take maximum primary data study. And I suggest all the teachers as well as the students try to take a primary data based research, because you will know something how to draft a questionnaire, how to collect a data. And collecting data is nowadays not a big difficult, because online you can share Google form, you can get the data collected very easily. Or you can circulate questionnaire among the colleagues, friends.
Analysis also nowadays became very easy. SPSS package
is there. Once you collect data online, it is easy to convert into Excel sheet and apply statistical.
They can use SPSS package and analyze the data.
And one more suggestion with regard to this aspect is you have to obtain company permission, and if not given, approach your guide again. They will suggest you. Guides they are qualified, experienced, and most of them are doctorates. They know everything. And some of the proposals I could see, without showing the guide, students are taking to the department, and they are saying that my guide is gone through it. I know that if guide is gone through it, definitely there would be some modifications. They are submitting as a raw data, and hence it is getting rejected. Your project report approval and report submission should go in one way, one go. Because repeatedly coming for a project, synopses are coming and we are rejecting because not as per the prescribed proforma. And I request all of you to see that project synopsis not required many pages, 4 or 5 maximum.
And one more point, as far as the approval is concerned, I would like to add one more point more. And we are receiving, unfortunate to mention like this, we are receiving so many fake certificates on the name of the organization.
Yes.
Sometimes even we are calling on the numbers given on the permission letters, and we would like to, we are knowing that it's a fake organization, no such organization is functioning.
Yeah, sometimes we check ourselves whether it is genuine or not. So that is also one of the reasons for rejection.
Yes. So please remember all these points while preparing project report and preparing the synopsis. Yeah.
Try to provide as genuine as possible. Because tomorrow you are again responsible for cancellation of your project report. Again, 1 year will go waste. And it is also remark for the guide also. Without looking at anything and signing and getting rejected, tomorrow that is not good for them. So all the guides are requested to go through carefully before signing on the project report. And students are taking signature at the time of synopsis and they are not approaching the guide later on. Because they are taking signature on the certificate at the time of synopsis approval only. So all the guides are requested not to sign on the certificate now. That is at the time of proposal submission. It should be on the completion of the project report. And please go through, spend your time, little time, and try to correct, spend little time. It will enrich our knowledge also, because as many number of students we guide, we will enrich our knowledge. So this is how we have to go about. Any questions? Any points from the students, teachers? There are many guides are there here, supervisors. We have already recognized more than 30 to 50 project guides officially. And we are looking forward to register as many as possible. But you have to submit your CV and application for that. We will issue orders, recognition letter within no time. And one fine morning, only registered guides will be guiding authority, because slowly we are going to move towards the other than guides cannot supervise. And once, twice or thrice project reports are not in order or rejected, and I'm sorry to say, we may have to delist the supervisors tomorrow, because non-seriousness of the guides. Because all the way, by all means, what we are trying to do is to enrich, enhance the quality of the research, enhance the experience-based learning, Very, yeah. Yeah, we blacklisted our supervisors. So don't invite such situations tomorrow. We want to associate with you and we wish you to associate with us. So we don't want to de-recognize and block you, but don't give any scope to that situation. That is what humble request and submission from the department, our department. Any guides, please interact. Any problems that you are facing while interaction with the student, before, after, while, during, you can feel free to interact with us.
So actually, somebody is raising that they want to enroll as a supervisor for a PhD. So for as a guide to PhD students, it's only regular faculty members of the university, or would they act as supervisors for PhD or everything?
For the PhD, external members are not eligible to guide as per the UGC norms. Earlier it was there, but during from 2015 February onwards, only internal regular faculty of the department are eligible to guide. We are very happy to take you as supervisors, but UGC is not allowing. We can increase the number of enrollment in PhD. University will get revenue, but we are worried about the regulation part, so we cannot provide. Yeah, if UGC allows in the future, definitely we'll open the opportunity for all of you to registered guide, and you can also allotted PhD scholars if required. Yeah, any more? I want to hear from you. Please read the guidelines carefully. Every question answer is available in that. If not, you can disturb your guide and we'll provide you list of guides very shortly. I think in a day or two after this webinar is over, You can approach them. We will provide you name, mobile number, and email ID. You can approach them who are near to you or subject concerned, whatever way it is. But it is not, you cannot force them. See, tomorrow we may get some calls regarding, sir, I approached XYZ teacher, but he is not giving. It is not mandatory on their part. If they are okay, they will guide you. You cannot force them.
That depends on the area of.
Yes, because, for example, you approach me because I may not guide you in HR. So I may say no, but you cannot question them that you are already guide, your name is given to me, so you have to guide me. No, it is all choice with the guide. So if the guide is not flexible or what you call comfortable, he can say he has every right to say no. Then you have to approach alternative, and all are requested to approach the guide in which area they are comfortable. For example, you can approach X. I approach them if they are comfortable with the every area. If it is marketing, okay. Otherwise, go for next. So that is always there. And
more point
yeah,
is actually our sincere request to all the students is follow the deadlines.
Yeah.
They are bringing just before the submission of the deadline for project report. They are bringing this down for approval.
And yeah,
deadlines careful.
Yeah, friends, particularly guides also. Don't sign after last date is over. Simple. See, we give sufficient time. We are giving minimum 30 days, maximum 60 days sometimes. And if required, we will extend the last date if required, if it is genuine case. But not one individual, two individuals. It is for all. But until unless we extend the last date, don't sign after the last date is over. And students are also advised not to disturb anybody after the last date is over. So we are giving sufficient time. You have to make use of it. Otherwise, you may have to approach later, that is along with your junior batch. So don't waste 1 year. We don't wish. We are not wishing that. So comfortable time is given. Every day you are viewing your WhatsApp. So we are repeatedly posting in the WhatsApp groups. So try to comply with the deadlines. Last date of the synopsis approval. And there must be some gap. Why did last date is given? You know, project after project report approval, from the date of approval, there must be 2 months gap. Because during these 2 months, you have to conduct your study. Within 15 days, I can complete it. No, it is not possible. Just if you are doing so, you are simply purchasing project from elsewhere. It is ready-made available. You are maybe producing it. No, that is not correct.
That's why normally we upload the guidance to the third semester.
Yes. So what we do in case of MBA, we upload and share the project report guidelines during third semester itself. In case of PG diploma, we are uploading and submitting, sharing in the first semester itself. We already shared with the PG diploma students, I think almost a month ago. Yeah. So now, because of this webinar, we did not share the guides details, because we want to empower you all with these guidelines and all that. So now you are, we will share the guides list. You can approach them. Any professor working in the department of any university are free to guide. They need not to be recognized guides. Recognized guide is is mandatory for those who are not working in the universities. For example, Professor Patrick is there. Professor Apparo is there. Many teachers are there in Usmania University or Kakati University. They need not to. Okay. So I think most of the queries and doubts, I think we clarified. Now the session is going to start by another speaker. Yeah, Professor Patrick is already here. Welcome, sir. Professor Patrick Anthony from Usmania University. I think you are all aware.
Yeah, 10 minutes more, I think, sir. I think we can still.
Yeah. So, Professor yeah. Yeah, there will be a break for 15-20 minutes, and sharp at what time we are going to meet?
It's already 1:20, sir.
Yeah, we'll start around 1:40.
Yes, sir.
Please pardon, Professor Patrick.
Nothing. I'm there.
Because
Am I audible, sir?
Little late by 10-15
No,
minutes.
I understand. Am
So
I audible?
1:30, around 1:40 will start. Professor Patrick will start on this, and I'll introduce you before we start the session.
Yes.
Thank you one and all for the participation, and let us have your lunch, and then we'll reassemble after 1:40 sharp at 1:40. Thank you one and all. Yeah, Patrick sir, you want to say anything? Okay. No, 10 minutes break ఉంది కదా. Okay.